Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 12 preview. We're one round away from the first major buy. Also, Origin is coming up very soon as well. So an exciting time of the year, and there's quite a bit for us to finalize, I guess you'd say, before round 13. Now, I actually think I'm going to use a boost this week, just because there's actually like so many good trade potentials this week that I feel like you don't necessarily have to jump on a couple of them straight away, but it is definitely beneficial to jump on them straight away. So first one I think is most crucial for my team, and that is Tanner Boyd, trading him out for Reece Robson. Now again, I think Marshall King is probably the better buy. Don't get me wrong. Marshall King is the better buy. I think they just have a better draw over the buys. Marshall King has been in better form anyway. But his price tag it's 100k more than Robson, and I think Robson can be as good as Marshall King has been. He's had a lot of attacking stats. So I think personally for me, I think Robson is the guy to go. And Tanner, but the main reason for this, I looked at the break evens. Tanner Boyd's break even is 57, which is not you know what? I know I said I had to do the trade this week. I don't have to. Okay, so there's this might be the trade I don't end up having to make, because yeah, the Tanner Boyd, his break even was 57, which is pretty high for him. I mean, if we look at his we'll just go back here. We'll look at his previous scores, barring last week. Who are the Titans versing anyway? The Dogs. So that's not a bad matchup for the Titans. They're an attacking team. Boyd kicking goals, and if we look at his scoring, I mean, it's been just really solid the last month or so. I mean, starting from round 3, 47, 52, 49, 54, 75, 49, 67, 37. So the round 11 game was a bit of an anomaly for Tanner Boyd, barring the first two. Against easy opponents too. I don't know what the hell happened in the against three of the, not great teams in the comp, you would say. But yeah, break in at 57. I don't really need to trade him, because I looked at Reece Robson and his break even is 62. So Robson, he hasn't really been smashing those scores. Obviously Robson, he is a try thief, and any week he could bust over for a try and score an 80. So that's the concern. But even if he scores 80 with a break even of 62, he's not going to go up that much in price. And if Tanner Boyd doesn't absolutely shit the bed, if he goes okay, then he's not going to lose too much cash either. Because if we look at Robson, he's been very. It's funny because his scoring, he's obviously had a couple of higher scoring games compared to a Tanner Boyd, who's had a couple of okay ones. But Robson, he's had a 74, 85, 74. 69. I mean, not too much to write home about at the moment, but it's just been really consistent, and he is a guy I would probably play every week. And he does have good coverage. Because yeah, Tigers, Parramatta is a tough one. Melbourne, Penrith. It is a tough draw, but he is a dummy half, so it's not like the draw doesn't necessarily hurt a dummy half as much. Obviously, a really tough defensive team like Penrith, Melbourne to an extent, it hinders them sort of busting over for a try close to the line, but it's not the worst draw. And the Cowboys they cover the buys just so well. Like, it's round 15 they have a buy, which is fine, and then Yeah, round 15. I was looking here. Round 15, then Penrith, Rabbits, Tigers, round 19 as well. But that's okay. We should have enough players for the major buy there. But I the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't I don't need to pick him up straight away. Jeremy Marshall-King, I didn't look at his break-even, but I'm sure it's pretty high. I mean, he's 680k now. He's coming off... Well, actually, he's probably pretty low. he's scoring so well, dude. But I feel like if Marshall-King... I just feel like if Marshall-King isn't scoring a try or getting a line break, he's probably more of that, like, high 40s to 50s. So... He does probably cover the buys better and has better draw, but... Yeah, I think I'm just... The cash is just nicer to use going Robson, I think. So I think that's my first trade. But I might actually hold a week. I might just hold off a week again, just because it's not necessarily that important. Now, big one... Well, we haven't really talked about team lists, so there's been some decent news coming out of team lists. So Josh Schuster is back, so that's nice. He'll... presumably be playing round 13. We don't know. He could play this game, get injured again. You never know. But Schuster's back, which is nice. Cartwright, like I sort of expected, he has been named in the 11 jersey outside of Dylan Brown in place of Sean Lane, who's out for, I think they reported 6 to 8 weeks. So not good for Lane, but good for Cartwright. It's nice because, again, I probably don't need to play Cartwright this week, and because they have a tough matchup, they're versing the Rabbits, and I can sort of see the minutes again because Madison is on the bench and Hopgood starting. So we'll have a look if Cartwright actually plays the full 80, or potentially Madison might spell him, but we'll get another good look at Cartwright to see if he's actually going to play the 80 minutes. So that's nice for me personally. The other one, Joey Manu, is out this week. They also have the bye next week, but from reports, like the rolling of the ankle, like, wasn't too bad. I think he was like a 50-50 to play this week, so I'm thinking I'm just going to hold Manu because, like, he doesn't play the first bye anyway. Obviously, it's a bit of a shame he's not playing against the Dragons, don't get me wrong, but he wouldn't have played next week. But we sort of got him in, I mean, because he's playing 5'8", but also because the Roosters are going to cover the buys really nicely after this one. So 14 is an important one to have Roosters players. 15, then 16, the major buy. 17 after that Origin period. 18, they don't cover 19, which again is probably not too... I haven't really looked at 19 too much yet, but they do cover around 20 as well. So I think... holding Manu is probably the way to go. I mean, if he comes out next week and he's going to be out for a few more weeks, like, yeah, you probably get rid of him. But what I noticed is that, yeah, he picked up the dual status. I noticed this after the video, and I think it was Aga posted a comment as well, talking about this as well, that potentially, because I want to bring in Billy Smith. I think Billy Smith this week is one of those... He's not a must trade in, but I think he is a very good cheapy downgrade option at, what is he, 280k. He's coming off 2 back-to-back 80s. He's looking good. He's looking very good in a pretty poor Roosters team. So I think Billy Smith is a great trade-in option. And I was, tossing and turning. Do I trade out Manu with the injury? Val Holmes, I think, he's got to go at some point as well. Do I go early on him? Or, as the comment suggested, and I realize as well, Katoa, we could trade Katoa, swing Manu up to 5'8", and trade out Katoa for Billy Smith. It would keep Manu in the side. It would save a trade. There's a couple of factors here, right? So, Katoa, I was happy to keep Katoa because he's a really good option, or not a good option, but he's just good cover for round 13 and round 14, just to have there. But the thing, it's an interesting one because I've got plenty of numbers now for round 13, so I don't necessarily need Katoa. And the thing about him is that he's never really showed that he's going to go massive. I mean, his high score is 52, like 40s, 40s across the board. The odd lower one and the odd highish one. His average is 40, which is pretty fair. round 13, they do take on Dragons, which, I don't know. They could put some points on with no Ben Hunt, with no... Who else would they be missing? Probably only Ben Hunt, which is a pretty big loss. But is it really worth it? Probably not. But that's the thing, is that if Katoa... because it's not like taking a risk like during a bye, if you had to take the risk of, do I play Katoa or do I sit him? It's just that you have your top 13 highest scorers. If Katoa scores poorly, he just doesn't play. He doesn't get in your scoring 13. But if he goes big, if he just jags a couple of tries, I don't think he scored a try all year. You'd think he's due eventually. But if he scores a couple of tries, goes 80 plus, then you get the free 80 points right there with just sitting him. But at the end of the day, I think because I'm so stacked for round 13 numbers and Katoa, it's probably pretty unlikely he's going to kill it. I do think that Katoa to Billy Smith is just it's the best trade option, really, because again, it might seem strange trading in Billy Smith this week. He's got the bye next week, but it's planning for future buys. So it's nice to be able to not worry about round 13 at the moment and sort of look forward to future ones. Also, I guess we should mention, as we got him up here, Valens Tavade is dropped. Well, not really dropped, but I mean, that's the thing, like people going early on Tavade. I mean, he was always going to be relegated. Like, Branko Lee has been the starting center, and whether or not you think he's been amazing, I think Lee's been fine. He's been solid, and he's always done a job for Wayne Bennett. He was only out because he was injured, so that's why Valens got his start. Where, yes, he was very good in attack, but there was clearly some defensive deficiencies from him. So Branko Lee comes straight back in. I know Ewan Aiken was in a bit of doubt, but I think he must have got named. I actually don't remember seeing him, but I guess that was the other reason that Tavade might have kept the spot if Aiken was out. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you got Tavade, it might be okay, because I would imagine Fido will get... I'd imagine he'd get a Queensland jersey, so potentially... I don't know what they'd do. Azarko probably goes to fullback, and then Tavade comes into the centres and they shift someone to the wing, or maybe he plays. I don't know. He might come in for round 13, so if you got him, it might be okay. But let's get him here. Also, I mean, we'll scroll past him. The other guy that I think is almost not a must-have again, but Benny Trbojevic. He got named. I saw that Kalma Tuolangi is gone for like 6 weeks with a... What do you do? I honestly don't even know the injury, but Ben Trbojevic comes in. He looked... I mean, I thought Tuolangi got dropped or like hooked, but he obviously had an injury. Trbojevic looked really good when he was on the field at the back end of that game. He's got the starting second row spot. He's 240k. He's dual center... 2RF. It's a beautiful little pickup, and I think he is the other guy that we are going to get in. But yeah, Billy Smith. It's sort of a you got to get him. I think you do have to get him. I mean, depending how your team is shaping up, if you're pressed for numbers for round 13 at this point, which would be, I feel like it'd be hard to, you'd be struggling if you're pressed for numbers for round 13 at the moment. But if you are, then obviously don't target Billy Smith potentially, but I think we're going to go him. And then, yeah, Ben Trbojevic is an interesting one, though. So I do think you do get him this week. Obviously, the only issue is that Manly don't play round 14. So you don't want to stack up on Eels and Manly players and Knights, I think it was. So got to be a little careful, but I don't have too many of either. And who do we trade out for what's his face? Ben Trbojevic. So Holmes, again, I do think Holmes is a sell over Origin. They take on the Tigers, though, who, again, it's not necessarily like a great matchup for him, but I'm not trading out Miller. I'm not trading out Johnston. We're not trading out Bird, Croker. I mean, I guess Taruva. I don't know. Do you get rid of Taruva? I don't think so. And then in the back row, so Fafita, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to keep Fafita over the Origin period. I don't really want to sell him. Hilm Lukey, no. Tyrone Peachy, no. Jackson Ford, no. Cartwright, no. Schuster, no. So I think... I know it's crazy, but I actually think that we trade out Val Holmes this week for Ben Trebojevic, which I know it sounds insane, but I think it's a really good option to do. I just do. I just do. Like I think we do it because there's no other real option I want. I mean, I guess Taruva is the guy, but I don't know, keeping Taruva I think will be a good number after round 13, and also is he finally gonna get some points maybe? But yeah, at the moment this is what I'm leaning towards, which it's a weird trade week because we're getting weaker to get stronger in the future basically. But we also have a shitload of money now. So this is what I was talking about, that I don't actually need to trade out Tanner Boyd to Robson yet. We have 700,000 in the bank, and yeah, we're sitting pretty. So I think this is what we're gonna do. Obviously we'll start Jack Bird. We'll have a quick look at how our team will shape up. So the Warriors are on the bye, so it doesn't affect us too much. Front row, that's all fine. Back row, that's good. I guess we could actually play Cartwright this week, potentially. No Joey Manu, obviously. Dill Brown. Backline still looks pretty strong. I mean, the Roosters are taking on the Dragons, so I'd probably start Billy Smith. I'm not too fussed. I don't think he's going to get another 80, but hopefully it goes okay. Gutherson, Garrick, and then our 4 reserves. So obviously Garrick, Cleary. So Manly are taking on Raiders. Man, it's I don't know. It's a weird matchup. I know people are raving about the Raiders, but I don't think they've been that good, personally. So it could be a play. Taruva taking on my Broncos. No Reynolds. It's still a pretty strong Broncos team. I don't know. I do like to play. It's sort of the good and the good and the bad parts of like following a team and also doing Supercoach, because like the Broncos, right? I'm happy to play like a Panthers player against the Broncos, because if the Panthers flog us and Taruva scores well, then I'm still going to be pissed, but it'll be not as bad because of my players going well. But if the Broncos go well and Taruva scores shit, then I'll be happy regardless, because the Broncos win or go well at least. So that's the benefit. But I mean, Cartwright is a decent play this week. It is a tough game against the Rabbits, but he is starting. And then even if we're keeping Tanner Boyd, Tanner Boyd playing the Bulldogs, he's probably the shout to go. So I think we take it off Ben Trebojevic, put it on Tanner Boyd, and then we decide if we're going Cartwright or Taruva. I don't know. Taruva hasn't really shown a ceiling, so we probably just go the safe points of Cartwright, but we'll decide that. So I think that's what we're gonna do for now. And then next week we have so many options. So I think Tohu Harris is gonna be my number one pickup as like a forward playing in the buys. So I know there's another cheapie, Edwards from the Dogs. So I don't know. I'm gonna quickly look. I don't remember seeing the Bulldogs team, but this. I think it's Harrison Edwards. He's just gone bang, 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 scored like some massive scores, playing huge minutes, and he's a cheapie. But I think he's going to be one of those cheapies that I just can't bring in. So So Pele's out. I don't know why Pele's out, but yeah, Harris and Edwards starting lock. But yeah, I mean, they have Ryan Sutton coming back into the extended reserve. So I don't know. Personally, I mean, Fatala Mariner is playing 17. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have a quick look at him on here. Let's just fucking... Oh, let's look at him like this, because I have to do a damn boost. Filter... I don't even know what he is. Just go to fucking team. I don't know if he's front row or... or second row forward. I'm not too sure. If he's front row, it would be nice, because he's been playing, like, absolutely massive minutes. Where is he? Yeah, so he's already gone up 100k. He's got 94. What do they say here? Despite the try. So he scored a try. Yeah, and he is front row forward. I mean, damn, he would have been a good... I don't know. Is it worth using a boost? So he played 62 minutes, 36 points. Not great. 58 minutes, 44 points. Again, not great. And then 68 minutes, 94, but again, like they said, without the try, would have scored like 57. It's honestly not that good. Like, it looks really good, but I don't know. He's already gone up 100k. I don't really think the job security is that good, and yeah, you've already sort of missed it, I feel like. I mean, if you have a luxury trade to make, yeah, bring him in potentially, but I don't think I'm gonna worry about it, because I'd have to use a boost, and I definitely don't think it's worth it to do that. I would like to get rid of Franklin Pele, don't get me wrong, but he's just gonna stick here for now. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Before I forget, let's talk about captain, vice captain. So I mean, Cleary taking on the Broncos. I don't know. I'm always so worried about my Broncos, even though they're going well. I still think you probably don't vice captain or captain Cleary. You shouldn't anyway. The Broncos should still put up a good fight. I mean, it's just, you can't go past Hines, dude. Hines, not vice. I think you just chuck the captaincy on Hines against Newcastle. That's just a really good matchup. 3 p.m. So then you look, Rabbitohs, Eels. Do we have any? We don't have any Broncos, do we? Panthers, can't do Cleary. Taruva, no, you wouldn't vice captain. Peachy, no. Dragons, Roosters, so Roosters players, I mean, Billy Smith, no. Dragons, Bird, no. South, Eels, so I've got, I mean, Johnston. Do you chuck the vice captaincy on him again? Dylan Brown, vice captain, maybe. I mean, you could go Dylan Brown, because if he went massive, you could loop pretty easily, or Gutherson. But Rabbitoh, I don't know. I actually think Eels could win this game. They're heavy outsiders, but I don't know. Mitch Moses coming back in. I actually think the Eels are sort of... I think they're smokies to win this game. I think the Rabbitohs are getting pretty full of themselves, and I can see a bit of what's for coming to them, and I think the Eels could do it. Honestly, I'm going to tip the Eels for sure this week. So who do I vice captain? Meh. I think you keep it on Johnston, just because he probably has the potential to go massive. Gutherson, he could get 100 for sure, but I wouldn't loop 100. Johnston could go 150, I think, potentially. So I think that's how we set up. And then, yeah, like I said, it depends. So if Welsh gets named for Queensland, which I don't think he will, but if he does, then we trade Welsh for Tohu Harris. If he doesn't get named, it would be nice, because then we keep Welsh and we trade Bunty Afoa for Tohu Harris. I mean, we could... we got enough money, we could actually trade Franklin Pele for Tohu Harris. It seems a bit of a waste to trade a cheapie like straight up to a gun like that without making any money, but I don't know. I think you'd probably get rid of Afoa though. He hasn't quite done what I was hoping he would. And then who else are we even looking at? Oh, the dummy half. So yeah, we trade Tanner Boyd to. I guess we could get, again, with the money we've got, we could definitely get in Jeremy Marshall King. So yeah, we can have another look of Marshall King, see how he goes against the Storm this week. Hopefully he goes, not terrible, but hopefully not great, and then loses a little bit of cash. But I think that's pretty much it. And then yeah, the rest of it looks pretty solid. So again, let's have a look at numbers for round 13. So we're trading Boyd out for a player, so we'll just do a starting team of who we'll have. So a forward can come in. Fafita go out for Ford. Lukey Peachy can go out for Cartwright. No halfback, that's fine. I'll talk about the halfback in a second as well to discuss, like, are you going to trade out one of the halves for a buy coverage halfback? We'll talk about that. Dylan Brown. Oh yeah, Dylan Brown's playing. Backline, Miller, Bird playing. Johnston. Wait, Rabbitohs are playing, right? Yeah, they are. Yeah, against Raiders. Billy Smith not, but we'll trade for Croker. Gutherson and Garrick are both playing. Beautiful. And then we've got... Dude, we're going to have like 17. So Benja Boyovich. Jesus Christ. Josh Schuster. And is that it? I guess we could have 17. If Welsh gets named in Origin, we'll trade him out, and then we'd have a full 17. Jesus, dude. We're sitting pretty. We're definitely sitting pretty for round 13. And I think, you don't want too many for the first buy, but I think even though we've got a lot for the first buy, I still think we're going okay for the future buys as well. Because we haven't like really made that many trades for the buy specifically. We started with a lot of these players anyway. So yeah, I think it's pretty okay. But yeah, before we head off, the other thing I wanted to discuss was, so Hines Cleary, what do you do with them over the Origin period? So I personally, I think I'm leaning towards not selling either of them. I know Hines, I heard that, yeah, he plays like the fewest amount of games possible over that period. If he makes Origin, I mean, Hines might not make Origin at this point. I mean, he'll probably, I don't know, he'd be such a perfect 18th man that would really screw us over, but at least he'd back up at that point. But the problem is that I don't know, like, who do you even trade them out to? Like, I mean, Johnson is the second best halfback just because Hines hasn't played many games, but do you really get Johnson? I don't know, like, I don't... Excuse me, dogs are knocking over shit I gotta pick up. But do you really... My God. It's just something. You can't see it, but he's knocking shit over. But Johnson, do you really get Johnson for the buys? I mean, he's going good. Don't get me wrong, he's going great guns, but he's averaging a tick under 70. I don't know if it's worth it. I just don't know if it's really worth it. Cherry Evans, obviously he'll play Origin. Adam Reynolds, I mean, he's been going okay. You take out the 4 in his average, and he's going well. Ben Hunt, he'll be playing Origin. Mitch Moses, I mean, I was still keen on Moses, obviously missing last week and now having a huge break even. I don't know. I mean, maybe, honestly, for round 13, I could see myself going maybe a Nico Hines to Moses for round 13, but I don't need the number. That's the thing. I don't need the number for round 13, so I don't think I'm gonna do it. And then there's no one else. It's literally, I mean, Jerome Hughes, I guess, but he's averaging 55 this year. I don't think he's worth it. And yeah, there's definitely no one else who you would be considering. I think Moses maybe, and then Johnson maybe, but like, I don't know. Personally, I think you just hold Cleary and Hines. You know, you could take a pod play, Like, if you don't have a bunch of players for round 13 and you needed an extra one, yeah, I could see going like Nico Hines, if he's named for Origin. I could see you going Hines to Moses in round 13 and then just praying that when Hines plays the couple of games, he doesn't go like 150 and hope that Moses goes some big scores. You could definitely make up some ground, but personally for me, I just don't really think it's that necessary. And the other thing that Moses, that he doesn't play round 14, so you bring him in for 1 week and then he doesn't play the next week, which Hines and Cleary both potentially will, even if they back up. So yeah, I just don't think there's any good options to go. So I think that's where we're sitting. The next week's trades are looking okay. I mean, we're ripping through the trades. We'll have 22 left after next week, but then yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're going to be making more trades after that, so we just got to be, you know, we saved a couple over the year. We just have to be a little mindful going forward, not to just trade for the sake of it. But I do think Billy Smith and Ben Trbojevic are great pickups to really just. Yeah, I mean, the Trbojevic one I don't think is absolutely necessary, but I was going to trade out Val Holmes anyway. Even though they're taking on the Tigers, it could bite me in the ass, but I do think he was a trade anyway. It makes a bunch of cash. Trbojevic will make cash. He'll be a good number for round 13. So yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, hopefully we have another stellar week. I'll fix my team. I'll try not to forget to fucking fix the team so I don't absolutely screw it up. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the Supercoach action. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.